Hi, very good evening. सभी को नमस्कार. A warm welcome to the 23rd World Education Summit Higher Education, a premier global event on the innovation in education. It's a third day. We have started on 24th of March. We have discussed on the various topics: NEP, artificial intelligence, blockchain, assessment, accreditations, global collaborations, SaaS as a services. Now we are coming to a very important topic that is yet to be discussed and deliberated by wonderful speakers of this. The topic is blended and the multi-format digital learning. Can they be the building blocks of higher education in India? As we are moving to post-COVID situation, blended learning is a hot topic in the watchword right now. So to discuss and deliberate on this particular topic, I would like to invite the speakers of the session. So first of all, I would like to invite Mr. Manoj R. Thakkar, Chairman IIMT Studies, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Welcome, Manoj sir. Thank you for giving your precious time to us and accepting our invitation. I would like to welcome Dr. Meena Rajesh, Vice Chancellor, GH Rai Soni University, Chhindwara, Madhya Pradesh. Thank you, Rajesh ma'am. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and giving us AR to the World Education Summit. I would like to welcome Dr. Balakrishna Sethi, Vice Chancellor, Sri Siddhartha University, Tumkur, Bangalore, Karnataka. Thank you, Sethi Saab. Thank you very much for giving your precious time to us in your busy schedule. I would like to welcome Mr. Supreet Nagaraju, Head Education Digital Media India and South Asia from Adobe. Welcome, Supreet sir. Thank you for giving your precious time to us in your busy schedule as you are traveling. We know. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
My
I would
pleasure.
like to welcome Professor Dr. Ajay Poddar, Pro Vice Chancellor, Om Sterling Global University, Hisar, Haryana. Thank you, Poddar sir. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming to
you.
World Education Summit. And I would like to welcome Dr. G.P. Vadodia, Dean, Gujarat Technological University, GTU, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Vadodia, sir, I think there is some technical issue. I request Deepak and Iqbal to please check from the Vadodia, sir, regarding his net connection so that we can have a healthy discussion. So, to deliberate on this particular topic, I would like to take the opening remarks regarding these changes before COVID, during the COVID, right now we are searching the post COVID. Traveling has been, we are doing the traveling also. Blended is a new buzzword. So I would like to opening remarks. First of all, Mr. Supreet Nagaraju, how he is seeing this blended and multi-format digital learning. What is the future aspect? As he is a technological expert and industry expert, how he is seeing the future in according to the campus and technology industry expert. Over to you, Supreet sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. First and foremost, let me thank the Elets team for this opportunity, and I'd also like to thank the entire co-panelists for taking their time out and discussing a very pertinent topic. Now that all of you are back to your respective campuses, but it also gives a very specific impetus on relooking at what is working and what could be the future. So first things first, as an industry leader, I'd like to emphasize on the fact that we are in the midst of digital first, right? Unfortunately, while we have downsides to the pandemic, the upside of the pandemic is also the fact that it has taught us new ways of forging, collaboration, new ways of relooking at delivering productivity, new ways of finding a means to the end, specifically from learning outcome standpoint. And incidentally, technology is a super express highway in this journey of unlearn, relearn, and reskill as an area. Now, talking specifically about the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic as an area. Uh, One of the key things that come to my mind is the fact that how much of engagements have been very productive when you've been in the physical classroom from a lowest common denominator in your respective classroom standpoint. Was it measurable? Were you able to take quantifiable actions to make sure that students in your classroom are being addressed with specific experiential learning? If you were to look at the overall cross section of the Indian society, particularly in the higher education space, one of the key things that we've observed is the fact that one size does not fit all when it comes to learning as an outcome, whether it is technical education, whether it is science and research as an area, whether it is arts and humanities, for that matter, law and various other allied fields from a medical standpoint as well. So it boils down to areas of engagement which can be very clearly there. Visual communication, visual means is a language, and creativity and digital is a super express highway in this whole area. And needless to say, pedagogies have been changed over the last 24 months. People have adapted themselves to looking at specifically academicians have adapted very, very swiftly to the new way of working, and it's here to stay, and it's not going to replace the human intelligence, the emotional approach and a touch that a teacher can bring or a faculty can bring to the student in the classroom. But at the end of it, technology is definitely going to augment certain outcomes, augment certain processes which otherwise would have been bottlenecked because of limitation of human kind as an area. In net, what I'd like to say is there is definitely a multi-pronged approach that educationists, academic leaders, and administrators can look at using different technology platforms like learning management systems, labs on the fly, which is essentially cloud-based, laboratory systems, bringing in visual mediums to ensure that the concepts have been learned better through e-learning and instructional design as a medium. And technology players like us, Adobe, play a crucial role in this, and we're more than happy to address this area. So let's make this a very fruitful experience in learning as we move into the next decade of learning and delivering outcomes as an area. Thank you so much. Back to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Nagaraju sir. Thank you very much for this wonderful inputs and opening remarks regarding the blended learning. And yes, very true. It's here to stay, and we have to see how much productive and what learning-based outcome we are achieving through this blended education. We will discuss further with the Nagaraju sir regarding the role of Adobe in this particular situation. Moving ahead, I would like to call upon Dr. Balakrishna Settu sir to share his opening remarks on this particular topics, what his insight and how he sees the future of the blended education in the current scenarios. Over to you, Settu sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Hope I am audible now, and that is a nice summary by Supreet. Basically, I would like to say now we all talk about two things now. One is digital education. Second is blended education. Basically, I am very happy to say that our students have been liberated from the four concrete halls. That is the most important thing I would like to say. Now, my student has got the liberty to study anywhere and whatever he wants to study. We had that situation wherein the faculty members wanted to have students very close to their network. They wanted to have the students very close to their schools. They wanted to have them very close to the classrooms. Now I would like to say the students are out, and the faculty members are inside the colleges. This is the best development. I usually call it in most of my meetings. I tell it is a fourth revolution, like the first revolution where the students used to go to the teacher. That was a Gurukul type of education. Second was the classroom type of education where the students used to remain in the classroom and the teacher used to come to the classroom. And third was a distant education where students used to learn somewhere. And now fourth is that is the fourth revolution because of COVID, because students remain at home and a faculty member will come to the school to teach the students. One way it has got a great opportunity that now students can learn whatever he wants to study. A student may be in any university for that matter. He can be in a Siddhartha University. He may be in All India Institute of Medical Science. He may be in Harvard. He may be in Stanford. He may be anywhere, in any place. He can go through these classes or the lectures of senior and eminent teachers. Of course, we had a lot of respect for our teachers. But I think that respect, or that more than the respect, I would like to say the importance of teachers have been diluted by the corona pandemic. The student is not waiting for Shetty, a lecture from Dr. Shetty from or from any eminent teacher for the matter of fact, he can listen to any lecture. So, in that concept, I would like to say now what the teacher has to do. The teacher's responsibility is not now giving a talk or a lecture. Now, the teacher's responsibility, actually, that was the teacher's responsibility in the Gurukul module of teaching, that motivate the student or encourage the student. We need to motivate the student. We need not tell the student, "Dekho, kitab padho, or take this book, read this book, and by heart this particular chapter. Come to the classroom or come to the examination hall and write something and score marks." That was a very pathetic situation of our education system. First of all, I would like to say pathetic, and secondly, I would like to say that is what is forced upon to us by our British rulers, because they wanted Indian students only to be like clerks. They never wanted students to be intellectuals. But we see a lot of Indian students outside the country. We have a lot of intellectuals. The intellectuals are predominantly Indians. If you go to a big hospital in Western countries, most of the best doctors will be Indians. If you go to NASA, the best of the engineers will be Indians. There are some places in India, in US, like in California. If there's a school, if there are more Indian students, the American students are scared to go to a class or a school where there are more Indian students, because the Indian students are very, very intelligent and they score much more than the American students. If there's an international competition on mathematics, Indian students will score over any other student. If there's a math B, if there's a spelling bee, if for that matter, any competition globally, the students do very well, and then Indian students do very well. But the question comes, why they are not doing very well in India? The million-dollar question to be answered: whether the seed is bad or the soil is bad. Without any reservations, I would like to say the soil is bad, because our seeds are doing very well in another soil. They are not able to do very well in this particular soil. So why this soil is bad? Because maybe our way of teaching. We need to motivate the teachers. We need to motivate our students. We need to encourage our students. We need to liberate the students from the classrooms in the form of blended learning or a digital learning. They can come to anywhere, any place, any point, any matter, any subject they want to do. They can do that. And NEP, the National Education Policy, has given the freedom or the liberty to study anything, and whatever you learn, it will be considered as academic credit, academic bank. You are having a bank of knowledge. You are not having a subject of knowledge. You are having a bank. That bank means you can have any currency for that matter. So that is the most important development. I think we need to see how it will progress further in improving the intellectual capacity or the wisdom of our students, not the ranking of our students, not the marks of the students. We need to find out how wise our students. I think the time will give the answer. So thank you very much
Thanks.
for giving this
Thank you,
opportunity.
Siddhi sir. Thank you very much for this wonderful opening remarks, and we will discuss further that how we can enhance our faculties with the skills of tomorrow, so that we have a more learning based outcomes. So moving ahead, I would like to invite Dr. Meena Rajesh to share her opening remarks regarding these topics. And I would also like to request Meena ma'am to please focus on the views that what kind of multi-format digital learning they are using in the campuses right now.
Well, thank you all. Let me start with the background of my university here. I come from a place where it's the most backward area in state of Madhya Pradesh called Chinwara district. It's one of the biggest district in Madhya Pradesh, but very few people have got access to good education here. And the university is 6 years old university, so really I could tell you what is happening at the bottom of the pyramid, because we as a young university actually deal with the hiccups of the initial stages. So this university has basically 7 colleges. Primarily, we have the agriculture one, agriculture college, where a majority of our students are enrolled, and we are one of the ICR accredited college. So there is a quite a good demand for the agri courses here in the central India and down south. Now, 50% of the students are from rural background, and rural background has got its own pros and cons. I would say, first and foremost, when we talk about digital learning, we need to look from point of view that the students who come for higher education to the universities, from where do they come from? They come from schools like Jilla Parishad school or a government schools, where it's just a beginning for them to to work on computers, to know what is a digital platform or what does a LCD looks like. So the the thing is that where to start. The first thing is the mindset, that we had a major challenge, and the second important thing was, when we talk about digital learning, the connectivity issues. To be very frank, it is not the whole and sole responsibility of the university to provide the content on the digital platform if the students are not able to access to the content that we provide. Somewhere down the line, the state government also has to look into the matter about infrastructure building. So the connectivity was the issue, and the third important thing was, the moment during the start of the COVID, once we transformed from a conventional class to a digital platform, the mindset of the parents was, the people from the rural market have this price sensitive part. So they say that, okay, now the teachers are sitting from home and teaching, so why you are charging the same tuition fee? And they were not ready to pay the entire tuition fee of the year. So these are few of the pain points that a university like us were facing during the start of the COVID. But our journey for the last 18 months or 2 years has been really, it's a learning experience for all of us, for all the stakeholders, I would say. The first thing what we did was, we did a capacity building program for all the stakeholders. When I say capacity building program, right from training the teachers to handle and learning LMS platform or a ERP, developing a content that could be taught through digital platform. Then for the students, how to handle those apps and platforms, the test preparation, assessment part. So various capacity building programs were conducted, and that had actually empowered the important stakeholders.
Thanks.
And over a period of time, being a part of the decision making authorities, we found out that there is a new dimension to the entire business model of the university. The business model has changed. We invest a huge amount on physical infrastructure, which I feel over a period of time would not matter until otherwise your digital infrastructure, your digital address is good enough. So that transformation has slowly started off, and we have given immense and tremendous importance to our digital address. And the third important thing, what the journey has taught us, is the push and pull factor. During these pre-COVID times, it was always the push factor that has worked. We made classes compulsory. We made the students sit in the class and give 100% attendance should be there, otherwise there would be a detention list. But when it come to the digital platform, definitely there was a huge challenge to pull the crowd, because many of them would just switch on the phone or the session, and would do their all personal work. So the pull factor was should be there, and in that way we started working on it, and the journey has really helped us through. And post COVID, in future, what I feel is, where it would take, definitely it would end up in a blended form, because the students have got a certain amount of comfort zone in learning. They have seen that, okay, the learning could happen 24 by 7, sitting anywhere, doing anything. So that kind of feature that we have given to them. But definitely courses like agriculture will not happen 100% over digital platform. They need to touch the soil, they need to understand the nitty-gritty of each and every practical things that they have to go. So what we expect is the self-motivated students would be there. Like, the ones who are really serious about their career, their growth, would survive. And the content development really needs to be taken care, because the teachers in good olden days, where they used to stick on to the textbooks, reference books, but now as the content is free all over the world, and it's free, so you have to really make it more interesting and attractive.
Thanks, Rajesh
And
ma'am.
yeah.
So we will cover next point in the next round of discussion. And a heartily congratulations to you, ma'am, for doing wonderful work in such a remote area and working on the new challenges in this digital space area. So I would like to invite Dr. Ajay Poddar sir to share his opening remarks on this topic regarding the blended use in the campuses. Do you see is the future, and what kind of new initiatives has been taken in the campuses? Ajay sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek and in fact, it was wonderful to listen the all the views points of the previous speakers, and I am glad that all the speakers have touched the point that how the digital education is the future of the world, and not only of the India, but it is going to be remain there, and we need to go with that. Uh, in fact, if we go by the history of the digital education, it goes by 1990, around 1990, when the developed country have started doing the digital education, and they have taken that in, because the digital education was one is that cost saving, and the second is that it's a convenient. And how the developed countries they have got the students and by accepting this digital marketing in both hand, but in the Asian countries or somehow in the part of other countries, the digitalization was not so fast, and the people have not taken it. In fact, it is one of the, you can say that blessing in disguise, that after the corona, it becomes necessary for the Asian countries or like India or other countries that they have to um, invariably have to accept that digitalization has required in the education, and then we have accepted it. Whereas the people in developed countries they already have taken this around 30 years before, 35 years before, but we have taken it after 35 years, and that is also when we have pushed by the corona. However, my take about the digital education is very. I am very positive about this. That the future is definitely for the digital education, and the students are required to come out from their cell, and we need to not to give them the spoon feeding education, but they need to do it by themselves, and we become the mentor. And this is the first and foremost requirement of the digital education, that the students are required to do their preparation, and the teacher and their peers they will be doing the discussion on that, and that is the core of the digital education, I believe, and it has to be. Whereas if we will go by the digital education in India or in our university when we have started in the first round of the corona, that time actually we also have our apprehension because of the private university, the government funding is not there, and the funding for upgrading the technology at the university level was very much required, and people or you can say the promoter of the universities were not ready to accept that the corona will be going to be going to be very long, and we need to bring the technology into the picture. But after the second round, this thinking has changed, and they have accepted that now the time has come when we have to upgrade our technology. And then we have upgraded our technology. We have given the training to our teachers, and the supporting staff, and also we have given some kind of pilot lectures to our students so that we can make the environment between the teachers and students, so that both will can understand that what is actually required when we go for the digital education. And I believe that the digital education is actually required the three things, that is, one is definitely the content, and the second is the technology platform, and the third how we are going to deliver it. The previous speaker has discussed about the difficult part of digital education, that is definitely the wavelength, the speed, the internet, and the mobile phone, the smart mobile phone is required for everyone, because in our country many people are still not having the laptop or tablet. So it means that the smartphone is required for each and every student. There the real challenge actually comes, that the people, the students who are coming from the interior areas or from the villages, they are not having the mobile phones, they are not having the technology in their hand. So as a government or as a universities, we need to address these issues so that we can make them applicable for getting the mobile phones, or making them certain kind of areas where these students from the interior, they can come and they can get the lectures at one place, at near to their village or some city. So this
Thank
kind
you.
of the things I think is required. And in our university, we already have conducted, this time we have conducted over 300 classes per day. We have conducted the online examination, and now from the 1st of April, we are opening the gate for the student as the offline. However, we are definitely going to make it as a blended mode, so that the student who have got the habit to do the digital education as their requirement, we need to go with that. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Ajay sir, for this inputs. And we will discuss regarding the challenge and what is the role of the government in blended education and how they are encouraging the private institutions and other government institutions for the in terms of fund allocation, in terms of the driving the faculty's skilling. So I will move on ahead with the Manoj sir regarding his opening remarks for this and how they are doing blended education IMT studies campuses, what feedbacks they got from the students regarding the faculty. Are we on the right track? So, Manu sir, your opening remarks on this.
Thank you, Abhishek. I would like to take the first part of your question about, if the blended learning or distance education or digital learning can be the block to higher education. In my understanding, it can never be a block, of course. The reason is it's been 2 years, but we've been surviving on digital learning, of course. Digital learning has actually created different ways to provide this education to multiple people, not only in the urban area, but even in the rural areas. Apart from that, in my understanding, digital learning is like I would say, I would use the term, a, a glorified word for the education, I believe. So in any case, distance education or blended learning can never be a block to higher education. Of course, if we don't invest more in distance education or online learning now, probably we would be hit very high in India by many of the international universities. Because in those countries, of course, online education is booming like anything. And so with India as well, of course. And India has taken great steps. The universities have been investing more in LMSs, the products like Adobe Connect, Microsoft Teams. They are coming with very different wide variety of new features. So, in my understanding, online education is of course emerging, and it would be certainly a great help to higher education. The only thing that we need to focus, that Dr. Meena Rajesh also covered, that there are certain areas of education they cannot really be covered by distance education or online learning. So there is a very good charm of face to face learning, classroom learning, and that would remain forever. Now this is something that I would, but yes, some part of education of that, those sort of courses, qualifications as well, would be certainly available for on online education platforms, certainly, because students have now got numerous opportunities to identify where exactly I can find new contents, and new startups, new organizations are coming forward. So there are, of course, mixed feelings, no doubt about that. But to be frank, blended learning can never be an obstacle in higher education. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj sir, for the eh, short and brief and straightforward inputs regarding the blended education and regarding your experience and the feedbacks. And we will take it in the second round, how you see the challenges and what the best practices can be followed so that it will be here, and how the best things can be taken from there. So we have connected with the Dr. GP Vadodia, Dean Gujarat Technological University, Ahmedabad. Vadodia sir, namaskar. Thank you for joining us World Education Summit. So Vadodia sir, are you getting my voice? Can you unmute yourself? सर अनम्यूट करिए अपने जीपी साहब हाँ
Sir, I'm also using a blended method because there were some issues with mobile, and now there is an issue with laptop. So I'm using the volume from speakers from mobile, and muting that speaker of laptop. Blended
Okay.
mode.
So, so Badozi sir, what just needs your remarks regarding the usage of blended learning the GTU, how you are
Yeah.
taking forward as one of the biggest university.
Thank you, Abhishek, and all the members who have spoken. Then I have heard Dr. Bala, then lastly Dr. Manoj Thakkar. Sorry. Hello, can you hear me? It's audible.
Yes, yes, we can hear
Hello.
you, but just Badozi sir, we can hear you. Just remain some distance from the
Yeah,
laptop so
being
that
in the
echo
state
will not come.
university, I'm working as a dean and also the principal of the government engineering college. In the last 2 years, I think we faced corona pandemic issues, and because of that, everything was switched over to the online teaching learning. But meanwhile, wherever it is possible, we were allowed to go for blended mode. Also, those who can come to the institution, they can come and have the study in person, but with as per the corona guidelines. But as per the, if we talk about the blended learning, I think no one can replace face-to-face learning, teaching, learning process. That is, I think, being in professional courses. If we talk about engineering, it's difficult to have a or in other courses probably may also not be that much of liking by the students and the teachers. Actually, teachers were not that much comfortable because it was a new mode of teaching, learning. That's a digital learning or distance or online learning. So they were not comfortable, and now they are comfortable. But anyway, still, if you talk to any of the teachers, because we have got more than 17,000 teachers affiliated with our university, so everybody is of the same opinion that we should go for face-to-face learning, teaching, learning, and now it has been permitted. Now that is definitely this digital learning, or let's say online mode, has opened up a new avenue. This is means one of the way by which we can at least continue our education, and advantages are also there. If I give an example, I was invited by IIT Roorkee to deliver a talk on dam failure. So it was possible only because it was not possible for me to travel to IIT Roorkee. So it was possible because of digital, this online mode, to connect with the students of MTech students as per their durations, as and when there was a period was scheduled. So in that way, it is feasible, advantageous. But this has opened up a new avenue that we can connect to any of the university of world online, and we can continue with the teaching learning. we can learn more things from the other universities also without going to that place. So this is, has definitely helped. So bonded blended learning probably is not a bad, it's a good way, and there is no hurdles for this kind of ways of teaching learning. So we I think everybody has accepted, and I think it has added to the value of teaching and giving and taking back from the students, and I think this has helped a lot. So one blended learning is not
Sure.
an obstacle to anyone. What it teaches of the students, it is visible, but only for practical purpose it is needed that students are supposed to be in the laboratory also. There are virtual laboratories are also there, so it's possible now to even conduct the practicals also, but and perform also. But anyway, face to face has definitely as a little bit higher side compared to the online mode. So I
Sure.
think this corona has helped us
Hmm.
to come up with new ways of teaching learning, and now faculties are also been trained, and now they are ready to face even in MS team or any. There are various platforms where now the teachers are comfortable, and advantage is that even if the faculty is on leave, professor is on leave, he can deliver a talk as and when from his residence also. So this has helped a lot. So probably
Thank-
now it is up to us how the faculty is taking this particular mode of teaching learning. But this is a good way. Definitely no obstacles for any education for practical purposes, etc. I think face to face is more far better. And always we get a feeling when the students are sitting in our front and the questions are raised and we can experience. So I think that is the only that is more advantageous. But anyway, in any kind of situation now, we can deliver a talk, we can hear, we can learn. So in that way, I think not an issue.
Thanks.
We can continue with this mode also.
Thanks,
So
Bhadoria Saab, for this
it's a give
wonderful
and take.
reports.
That's what I would
Thanks,
like to
Bhadoria
say.
Saab, for this wonderful reports. And you briefly describe that it will add the values, blended learning will add the values, but we have to discuss up to what certain level does it impact the quality of students and the quality of education that we are imparting through the blended education. So I will come to the second round of discussion, and I will start with the Supri sir again. Supri sir, my question is to you that Adobe is one of the globally accepted companies in the education domain that talks about creativity, designing, innovation in the education domain. I would like to request Supri sir, please explore that what kind of solutions that Adobe can help out in such kind of a blended, we call it hybrid or blended, or any kind of mode of education that that Adobe can help universities to continue their education in more quality and enhanced manner. So please, if you want to explore regarding the Adobe solutions and Adobe initiative that has taken in the current scenarios.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, one and all. And it was some very insightful thoughts given by the co-panelists as well. So first things first, and I'll jump straight into the use cases which can actually add tremendous value to education fraternity at large. So all of you know us more as a Photoshop and a PDF company, and I think Indian higher education system today has got close to about 60% of the student base, or I would say 60% of the academics focused on technical or engineering programs as an area. So first things first is the fact that visualization as a technique is a very, very important aspect because it cuts across language barriers in a very, very meaningful way. One of the common challenges that I have seen and heard from many of the academic experts, from the past and even in the present, has been the language barrier. Articulation, interpretation are very important aspects of the delivery systems. So that is where visual communications and visual representations become very, very critical. So Adobe's core product line, which is one of the largest you consume software product in the world, which is the PDF portable document format, has got different formats of delivery available in it. From a standardization standpoint, we have engineering standardization available on Acrobat Pro, which is a world-renowned, specific tool and standards available for creating e-portfolios. Including your CAD applications being imported into it, scientific data being shown across, or any other live experimentations that you would like to showcase. including video, voice, data, your own recording of your classroom in case you're not able to attend, or you would like to have that recorded, including verbiage, can be concised into one single document and shared across to your students as a PDF document. So that is called as an e-portfolio. That's one area. The second solution, outside of Acrobat Pro for your faculty members, that you could look at as the content creation space. All of you are familiar with content creation platforms in the school education space. Example, the Byju's of the world, or even, in fact, for your matter, there is NPTEL, National Program for Technology Enhanced Learning. So there are animation, VFX, and whole host of technology tools like character animation, which are used effectively to represent digital diagrams, or even automation of some of the workflows that you would like to showcase, both in the technical and the non-technical space, or even architecture and design spaces, or even literature for that matter. So Creative Cloud is a tool set of content creation tools which are used worldwide as a standard for visual communication in across design, web technologies, and video technologies as an area. And now, of course, we have an addition of 3D tools as well, called as Substance 3D as an area. Now, once you have a meaningful content being created out, which is very appealing in nature, and it can have multiple languages also embedded in, because Adobe today supports about 7 to 8 Indian languages if you are trying to communicate in the local medium as well. There's a necessity for you to port this content to multiple students, millions of students across the length and breadth of your state or the country. We have a very interesting platform called as the cloud-based platform called as the learning management system we call as Captivate Prime LMS. It's a world-renowned software tool which is used on any device, anywhere, any place model, which can deliver top class, top quality video, and also e-learning content being played both in a synchronous and asynchronous format, with learning analytics being part of it. And last but not the least, you can share a lot of assignments to the students from various aspects of evaluation, whether it is MCQs, or even for that matter with respect to elaborated questions, evaluate them. Even you can e-sign. Electronic signature is another offering that we have, which you can e-sign and send it across in real time to the students as an area. So in a nutshell, we have an end-to-end offering, from an e-learning content creation to dissemination to learning analytics, and you can offer any format of programs, whether it is ODL, online learning, or whether it is hybrid models, or you want to look at experiments that can be done from a virtualization standpoint, e-portfolios, or IEEE journals, or any other international standards that you want to submit. You can go ahead and do this. That's pretty much about it from my end, Abhishek. Over to you.
Thanks, Supri sir, for briefly elaborating the solutions that Adobe has enhanced the higher education. And I totally know that everyone is using the Adobe product by any mean. We are using PDF and others, Acrobat, and other solutions, the hybrid nature also. So moving on to the Dr. Bala sir. Bala sir, we have talked about more about the blended and other modes of education. Do you really think that blended education is more sufficient and generate the quality education that we are talking about, or it is just to enhance the gross enrollment ratio? Right now we are talking about digital university concept also, we are talking about virtualization of all these things also. So Bala sir, what's your take? Is this enhance the quality of education, or we are still stuck in that position only?
Definitely, this what I would like to say, the blended education has definitely improved the quality of education today. As Supreet has rightly put it, there are so many platforms wherein students can read, learn, and become educated, and also become very wise students. Now classrooms, the teaching where the place where teaching used to happen, the classroom, has been replaced by the house. Now students read at home, number one. Number two, books have been replaced by digital content. So I need not say read this book, read that book, read this book. I need not tell that to the student. So student knows what should be learned, and that is a digital content. So classrooms have been replaced by home, or what's called the flipped classrooms, and the books have been replaced by digital content. These are the two major advantages, okay, which are major changes which has happened. Now, what is the outcome of all these things? That's what you are asking. Now, definitely with these things, and but the most important thing, all the speakers, all the university vice chancellors, deans, and the principals would like to say that the chalk and talk method, or eye-to-eye contact with the with the teacher, is mandatory. Of course, I agree with that. It is mandatory that a teacher should see a student and teach him. That is very, very important. Whatever you learn on a digital platform. So how do you blend this? Now, blending is not doing both the things together. What is a real understanding of blending? I would like to tell in 2 minutes. The blending means now we will give the content to the student, number one. The student will read that content at home, number two. And in the classroom, we discuss that content with the teacher. So what happens is the one-way teaching where the teacher will enter the classroom and he'll put 101 lines in a PowerPoint, and automatically these PowerPoint slides will be moving the 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and most of the students will be sleeping in the classroom. Such things will never happen in blended learning. In blended learning, what will happen is you will give the content, number one, student will read at home, and when you come back, you ask questions to the particular student. Because in higher education, there is nothing called teaching. We need not teach too much because they need to know the content. Maybe a little bit of mathematics, maybe a little bit of physics we need to teach. But biology, you need not teach. Similarly, so many things which we need not, and most of the times we all know, you are a student, I was a student, we used to read last month before the examinations, and we used to learn so many things. It is not mandatory that we had to attend the classroom. Now it has happened. By default, we need not attend the classes at all. We can learn from digital content. So the blended learning is giving the content, and the student will read and come to the classroom, and the teachers will ask the questions in the beginning of the classroom, and the student will answer those questions. And if the student makes a mistake, and the teacher will correct them. So teacher will correct them after he gives the answer. This is what is called as the answer first and discuss next technology. That's what the technology which we use in our universities. We don't do one-way talking at all. There is no one-way teaching at all. So read, study, come to the classroom and answer the questions and interact with the teachers. So the classrooms are not for teaching, the classrooms for interaction. If there is some time, I can show those slides, but I think it's not necessary right now. But basically, it is interaction, 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 and making our students more energetic, more lively, and more wise. That's what I would like to say.
Thanks, Setthi sir. Thank you very much regarding the briefing of the blended education and how things has been blended. What is the future behind it? So I will come to the Ajay sir. Ajay sir, my question is to you this: that do blended and the multi-format learning has the potential to bridge the social economic gap in education?
Uh, uh, Definitely is there. You see, in fact, I have seen in this period of when, as I said in my preliminary remark, that actually Corona has made us in Asia, that we have started using the digitalization in a bigger way. And if you will see into the social economic conditions or situation, where many of our villages or many of our interiors were actually not having the classrooms, were not having actually the schools, and in fact the teachers are not available there, and government is not able to provide the teachers or constructing the schools in the villages and other part of the another kind of thing. So this digital education is actually providing that platform to those students who are actually can now have the possibility to use that platform and start learning the things. And in that way the gap between the students that only urban area students are getting the knowledge, and the rural students are still behind, or even the standard of the education was having the so much of disparity in these two environment. But now, because everything is available, and you can provide the education through digital, and it can reach to the millions of the people at the same time, or they can use it as the recorded version. So this actually finishing the gap of the education, which was not available earlier.
So Ajay sir,
Also,
but
what you
I'm seeing Ajay sir, I'm seeing that there is lack of awareness regarding this such kind of blended programs. So how we can overcome this awareness type things? People are to economic backward. People didn't know regarding this such kind of programs like Nectar SWAM. So how universities are helping the such kind of awareness?
You see, the thing is that now this our new education policy that has actually also have helped in that way. That the now you have to have the credits. You can have the credits, and these credits can be transferable, and
Okay.
also you need to have the professional education, and the professional education, how you will be getting that with your customized education you can have the short term programs, and
Hmm.
those you can start the digital education one by one step, that you can provide the short term programs to the students, so that the students can start learning that, and you can inbuilt that into your education, so that the industry can have the stars, that these students have got 3 stars from the university, that he has the contemporary education also, and he also have got some kind of other education, other 2 weeks or 3 weeks
Sure.
program on some kind of thing. So in that way we can provide the digital education to everyone, and the people start receiving those things, and they will be excellent.
Sure. So thanks, Ajay sir. Thank you very much. So as we are on the time, so I would like to ask the question to the Manoj sir and Vadoria sir, the same question. As more technological transformation is taking place, we are new technologies are coming. If we talk about AI, blockchain, data analytics, such kind of new technology, we have to equip our faculty with the skills of tomorrow. So I want to ask Manoj sir how we can do that, and is this overburdening our faculty also? Such kind of blended, they have to work on the physical also. They have to work generate the content for the blended also. Is our faculty is overburdened? Manoj sir, Meena ma'am, and Vadoria sir, we need your take in next one minute each. Manoj sir, what do you sir?
Abhishek, I don't really believe that that is going to be an extra burden on our faculties. So to take, just to quote an example, we change our fashion so frequently. So every fashion, every new thing that we try out with, so we have to accept those things so gently, so fantastically, and we would be going through with that so pleasantly, and we enjoy that too. So, in my understanding, the digitalization of education, it is something anew that is coming forward. It was already earlier as well. It was already functioning so well earlier, but this has been emerging now, considering the student preferences. The faculties are so conveniently available for the deliveries of lecturers. Vadodria Sab just mentioned that faculties are even on leave and they can simply deliver the lecture from wherever they are. So it's been work from home that has been also functioning so fantastically, and organizations have already started working from home culture from now. So there is a tab of work from home if you actually want to go for a job or something like that. So in my understanding, uh, blended learning, faculties, yes, faculties would have to learn extra for that. They would have to learn how exactly they would have to engage the learner. Now, these are the special skills that faculties would need to have with them. And in my understanding, if it is a digital classroom, for example, right now, uh, I think case study would more matter more rather than just simply a theory delivery, because a case study can engage a learner so well, a group of learners so well, rather than just a faculty, been delivering just theory. So I think, there would be a great change of content, but again, this would depend on university to university, institution to institution, and of course their objectives on how exactly they would want to look forward to it. And of course there would be a huge investments institutions would be requiring to do in order to engage learners, in order to establish their online blended learning complete, labs or something like that, to deliver all their qualifications, maybe in part, maybe in full.
I
Thanks,
second
Manoj.
Manoj's
Hmm.
pointer.
Yes.
Very, 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 very valid points. Yeah.
Thanks, Manoj, sir. And I want to continue with the Vadoria, sir, with the
Yeah,
same questions. How we can,
yes,
Vadoria,
yes.
sir,
I
are you
think,
getting my voice?
yes, I'm. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, yes, loud and clear, sir.
Yeah. So now I think I do agree with Manoj Bhai that is definitely there is not going to be any overburden. Yes, teachers are supposed to get themselves updated every each and every time as per the needs of the particular situation. So and the emerging technologies, whatever we say, AI or ML or data science or IoT or whatever may be, I think teachers are supposed to be updated themselves, and as per the needs of the present era of the students, I think yes, he is supposed to deliver. And I probably due to corona, I think we have learned many things, and there are many platforms where we can pass on this particular knowledge to the students sitting anywhere. Even the last 2 years, I think students were just there at their home, and the teachers were maybe in some institutes they were supposed to come to the colleges and they were delivering. Sometimes they were delivering from their home. So it is possible. Only thing is that even the already I have just told you in my previous session also, that even the virtual labs have been created and the practicals have been performed. So I think everything is possible. Only there is a will, there is a way. I think it's possible. And but if to have little bit more practical exposure, then only I think students will be required to be there in the laboratories. Then definitely they will be needed in engineering or professional courses or medical courses. But else for classes, for theoretical classes, I think they can deliver online. And I think this has made easy to us. Now any expert come from Delhi, Bombay, Mumbai, Calcutta, anywhere, if I want him to be on my platform and to deliver a talk to my students within a phone call, within even if one day before I tell him that he will be in position without coming to my place at Ahmedabad, I think he can deliver a talk. It's base experts available in the nation can be reached to the doorstep online. I think this has helped a lot. So I think, and the teachers are learners. All teachers basically, students or teachers, they are students all the lifetime. So they have to learn, and they are learning also. In Corona also, they have accommodated themselves, and they have delivered it very well. So I think this blended mode has opened up a new era or new avenue for both the ways. That is stakeholders also and the teachers also. So that's my view.
And and Vadoria, sir, Manoj, sir, also talk about the investment required regarding this skilling and the
Yeah,
tools. So,
yeah.
what
The thing
your views
is,
on that? From where we can generate the funds?
yeah. Now, investment definitely. If anybody wants to go for interactive classroom or that kind of facilities to be created, that some group of students wants to be there in the classroom and some wants to be there at their place of residence, then definitely that infrastructure is to be created. And if you want to say, if you want to create, let's say IoT lab or AI lab or ML or something like, definitely that lab, that investment will be there. But as for teaching and learning, I think if you want to create a smart class, interactive classroom, then definitely that class, that particular investment definitely is going to be there. And I think this is also needed. Now we are supposed to get ourselves updated also. There are few classroom maybe created such kind of class, interactive classroom, and we can have a mixed mode of teaching. Those who wants can come to the classroom, others can just be having the internet facility their residence, and we can go ahead. Yes, little bit funding will be required. Definitely.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks, Vadoria, sir. Hopes investment is on the full circulation, and we need requirements for such kind of tools and such kind of skilling program for the faculty. And I request to please, sir, also to please support and please collaborate with the universities to have the mutual collaboration regarding the upgrading the technologies and how they are using the designing, creativity, innovation in the campuses. So I will come with Dr. Meena ma'am. I request Meena ma'am, we have already on the time, so please take your 2 minutes regarding your views regarding the reskilling of teachers faculties for the future programs of the students. Meena ma'am, your take.
Yeah. So I would say the dimension of education industry has totally changed, especially the higher education. So as I told, like the students have to be self-motivated. Now it's time for the teachers to be self-motivated. So it's more about upskilling, reskilling, learn, unlearn, and relearn again. So if you are not updated with the current competitive scenario, then you are left out. So I think the entire dimension of the education industry is changing, and it is has become more dynamic than before. So keeping that in mind, I think every teacher has to take interest in his or her own field and do for the betterment of the student. That's it from my side.
Thanks, Meena ma'am, for this remarks. So as we are on the time, so I thanks all panelists to give their precious time to us, and I request all my audience, if you have any questions, you can directly put your questions at education@digitallearning.in, or you can follow our speakers on their social handle as well. They are pretty much active on their social handles. Please ping them, please ask them some genuine questions so that they can get back to you. So, and I also ask all our panelists to please do collaborate with the industries and the academia so that much more such kind of activities can be done in the future so that we can get a more learning outcomes. So by this, I will request Deepak to please hand over the speaker of appreciation from the World Education Summit side. This speaker certificate is presented to Manoj R. Thakkar, Chairman, IIMT Studies, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Thank you, Manoj sir. Thank you very much for giving your precious time to us. Dr. Meena Rajesh, Vice Chancellor, J. Rai Soni University, Chitpara, Madhya Pradesh. Thank you, Meena ma'am. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation, giving your precious time to us. Dr. Balakrishna Sethi, Vice Chancellor, Siddhartha University, Bangalore, Karnataka. Thank you, Sethi Saab. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here at the Education Summit. Dr.
Thank you.
Shashi Anand, she didn't join today, but she will join in our next panel. Professor Dr. Ajay Poddar, Pro Vice Chancellor, Om Sterling Global University, Hisar, Haryana. Thank you, Ajay sir. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the World Education Circuit. Dr. G.P. Vadodria, Dean, Jain Technological University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Thank you, Vadodria Saab. Thank you very much for giving your time to World Education Summit. And thanks to Mr. Suprit Nagaraj, who head Education Digital Media India and South Asia Adobe. Thank you, Suprit sir. Thank you very much for bringing us time for this panel in your busy schedules. So by this, I thanks all my panelists to giving your precious time to us, and please be in touch and we will surely meet in the physical event as soon as possible. Thank you, Suprit sir. Thank you, Manoj sir. Thank you, Bala sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, all co panelists. It was wonderful meeting you all.